remember every single year asking my mom up through my senior year of high school, please homeschool me. And I did well in school. I got good grades. I had friends. I did well in sports. So it wasn't that school was a terrible experience, but I hated it. Not how I learned.
Mm-hmm.
So I forced myself to memorize things enough to regurgitate on a test, but it wasn't how my brain accumulated knowledge. And so I actually don't remember very much from school at all. The majority of things that I know right now, I know because from teaching my own children and then from reading hundreds of books on things that I'm actually interested in. So that's where when I had my kids, I knew that I wanted freedom, I wanted flexibility, and I wanted relationship. And I wanted them to learn in a way that was best for them. And so that's why I chose homeschooling.
Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today. Back with truth, our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Access thousands of videos on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS. Join the battle at faithandfreedom.tv.
Chief, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. I am so excited that you are joining me today because I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Julie, and she is in the health space. And the reason why I brought her is because she gets to the very core of our body, and she focuses on DNA and what does our DNA tell us to help us improve our health. And we're going to ask her those questions. I found her very fascinating on my friend show, and I asked her to come on to this episode. So I hope you'll like today's show. Did you know that Jeffrey Epstein's victims, I'm sure you did by now, at a press conference today? Well, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But something you may not know is that earlier this morning, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against a Trinidad-Tobago narco-terrorist. We have a lot to talk about on today's episode, so I hope you'll like, share, subscribe, and repost. But here we go. Let's get started, shall we?
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep. Fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep. Breaking the silence, making a stand. A voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed. She won't back down, she's lighting the way. A beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep. Fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep. Breaking the silence, making a stand. A voice for the people across this land.
I am so grateful for you guys. You know who you are in the chat. You know, without you guys, I don't know if I could have lasted yesterday. You guys were champions. You all made me feel so good. And if you didn't catch my show yesterday, I am on live Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. And then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm here at 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you come tomorrow, because tomorrow I have my European correspondent joining me. You guys asked to ask him questions, so I delivered, and he's coming back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you join me. I'm also starting my premium content. I'm going to let him go without premium, but after that, I'm starting my premium content. So in the next hour after he comes on, we're going to do premium. So if you haven't subscribed to the Amber May Show, now is the time to do it, because I have behind the scenes with Amber May. I have all kinds of things I want to share with you. But yesterday, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank Austin, my big stud. He saved me in more ways than I can imagine yesterday. Not only did he encourage me in the chat, he called me up to make sure I was doing okay. Because, you know, when technology fails, it sucks. And I work really hard to provide good content for everybody. And so I don't like when technology fails and I feel like I'm not bringing a great product, especially when you're, you know, featured, right? Especially then you have more eyeballs on your content. And God's Sign Post, you gave me some great words of wisdom, encouragement. So did you, Wendy Wild. So thank you so much. And then I had my kids do a show because I did some stuff in the studio. I want to make sure everything was like good to go yesterday. So I asked my daughter to do a show in my studio yesterday because you guys know she does a show called Them Friends, and she did a phenomenal job. But you know what's the best part about being a parent? When your kid thinks you're so cool. Like my daughter's like, I got to be in the Amber May studio. Mom, you were the most famous show on Rumble. You and I know that's not true, but it is so adorable that my daughter thinks that highly of me. And that brought me so much joy yesterday that my daughter thinks I have the best show on Rumble. So she likes doing shows like I do. And she's like, Mom, your microphone was so good. I said, well, Christmas and birthdays are coming. So we'll see. Maybe the Amber May show will help her get more equipment. Yeah. So speaking of children, let me ask you this before I get to that story. Do you ever have a craving so bad, like you'll do anything to get that craving? You know, I was hearing a story about a dad who was super hungry and all the family was in bed, right, sleeping. And he decided to order on one of those apps, right, that deliver to your home. And he wanted tacos so bad. Like he was craving tacos, like everyone's asleep. So he thought if he could just order tacos, right? One thing led to another. The tacos came, everyone woke up and they wanted tacos now, right? So anyways, like, have you ever had a craving so bad where you just had to go get the food no matter what you did? Well, here's a story for you about Chick-fil-A. Someone wanted Chick-fil-A so bad that he made sure he got his Chick-fil-A.
We arrived on scene. Hello. And as we walked in, we see a little kid sitting at the table eating his breakfast with one of the managers. Hey, buddy.
Look at that.
We asked where he came from, and he kept saying he walked to Chick-fil-A.
You know where your house is, right, honey?
It's right across the street, right over there.
Okay, cool.
I have children, and the first thing you get that knot in your stomach because somebody else who's a parent is missing their child.
Are you going to show us where you live?
Yeah.
Okay. We gathered him up. Look at that. Say thank you.
Look out for you.
I walked him to the back of my patrol car.
Are you going to get me in jail?
No, I'm not going to put you in jail. And we started checking here. All right, buddy, where's your house at?
We're wondering where did this child come from?
Is it right here?
None of these doors are open. None of these garages are open.
I don't live in that pond.
So then he explained that he had a white fence.
That's where it is.
Right here?
Yeah.
And that's when we pulled up in the driveway. And then we realized that the call box wasn't working. We had no way to get through the gate. How about that?
My initial thoughts were, I can't believe he came out of here. It's the most secure house on that block in reference to having a fence all the way around, front, back, sides.
Please.
I'm Phil.
I'm Victoria.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, do you have a son named William?
William.
Yeah, a little boy?
Yeah. Our 5-year-old William had an adventure a few weeks ago, and we live nearby very close.
Yeah, he was down at the Chick-fil-A.
Are you kidding me?
No, we have him in our police car. You want to come get him?
You could just see the look on his face. It would be for any parent, including myself. It's disbelief.
It's kind of scary, actually, because we didn't realize what was going on until after we came out.
Do you have any idea how he got out?
Yeah, he's got unlike the front door, but he's never done that.
I was worried about him because was he scared? Was he crying? Was he upset?
Come on, little man.
He was quiet, which is unusual for him.
You scared? Why did you go to Chick-fil-A?
You're welcome.
I think it did shake him up some, so I don't think we really needed to, impress too much that you shouldn't do it again, things like that. I think he understood that it was serious, but we did talk about it.
I know he knows how to get to Chick-fil-A because we walked there. I would have never expected him to come down here on his own in the morning before anybody else in the house was up.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Sir, good to see you again.
How are you, sir? How are you? We're good.
Hey, what's up, buddy? You remember us? Oh, you're used to me? Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. I can't wait. Thank you.
What a beautiful story. Hey, when you have a craving, you have a craving. You can't help it. And the fact that him and his mom did it on a regular basis, like he knew exactly where he was going. He was hungry. The family was sleeping. He was going to go get some breakfast. So he was going to march himself down to that Chick-fil-A. Oh, can you imagine being the parents and just mortified that you think like, oh, crap, my kid just left and I didn't even know. But the police officer said it was a very secure house. So naturally, if you feel like your house is super secure, you're not going to think that my kid's ever going to, just leave, on his own. Well, one thing good about Chick-fil-A is they're very cop friendly. And so he went to the right place to get help by the right people. I just thought that was a cute story. I'm glad it ended well. I'm glad the Chick-fil-A people were kind and fed him, or maybe the police officer paid for his food, because that does happen. People don't know that. It's not on the news, but yes, a lot of times the police officers will put people in hotels. They'll buy bikes for children that when their bikes get stolen, if they go into a house and see a refrigerator empty, they will go out of their own paycheck and put food in the refrigerator. Police do all kinds of stuff that never make it on the news. So I just thought that was cute. I'm glad it ended well. So I don't know if I talked about this. So if I did, I'm sorry. But I think the reason why Americans are having less sex is because beer sales are going down. And we all know about beer goggles, right? It makes people a lot more attractive. I played that clip from Seinfeld last week about how this one woman looked pretty in the light, but then in the dark, she's like, oh, right? So the reason why there's less sex going on in America is because beer sales are down. Constellation brand share sinks as Modelo maker slashes guidance, sees Hispanic consumers decline. So the Constellation brand cuts its fiscal year guidance on Tuesday. This is coming from CNBC, citing a challenging macroeconomic environment. And the company also reported a decline in sales among Hispanic consumers, who it has said made up about half of its beer sales. Constellation said that it expects beer sales to fall 2 to 4% during the fiscal year. But this is not very funny or fun to think about. But today, I'm sure you've already seen it on previous shows. Epstein survivors talk about being trafficked. And this one in particular talks about how scary it was for her to be a young girl. She was promised to be an actress and that this one man could help her because he's very well acquainted. But the way this victim shares about her story, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I really didn't think about it in that context where she didn't feel like there was anywhere she could go for safety because she's around presidents, for crying out loud. She's around the upper echelon of our nation's elected leaders and probably corporate leaders too, maybe even actors. I don't know all the people that she came in contact with. But when you're being victimized and you're being victimized by very powerful people, yeah, you feel very helpless, very helpless. Like, who's going to protect me against these guys? Remember, no one is above the law. Wink, wink. Except the upper echelon, right? No one is above the law. Well, I'm hoping the tides are turning with Donald Trump being in office. But I thought we could just hear one little glimpse of the press release today, the press conference that was held. So here we go.
2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience. And when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life. And that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And what I endured will haunt me forever. I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us.
Yes, it sure does. I mean, I never really thought about it quite to that extent. I mean, I knew powerful people were harming them, but I never really thought about, like, where is she going to turn? Like, as a victim, like, where am I going to go? All these powerful people. There's no one to protect me from these powerful people. So that really sunk in today. You know, the other side of the aisle wants to throw our president under the bus and say, oh, he was around Jeffrey Epstein. He's hiding something. Well, here, Benny Johnson is posting a video on X about people saying that they didn't ever see anything President Trump himself did around that was inappropriate around Jeffrey Epstein.
It's just something that I think I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
When I heard the story from Mel K, because she lived in Florida at the time. And if you don't know Mel K, she has a show called The Mel K Show right here on Rumble. You can check her out. And I got to meet her through a mutual friend. And I remember her sharing a story about how it was Donald Trump, once he found out that Jeffrey Epstein was being inappropriate with a member of his staff's child, he was the one who started initiation of the police. He's the one who started reporting him to the police officers. And at that point, they kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and he was banned. He was never allowed to come back to Mar-a-Lago. And so, yes, Jeffrey Epstein was like very wealthy. So he was in those circles, right? How did Donald Trump know? If I were to meet a pedophile, I would not necessarily know they were a pedophile until either a victim told me or I started seeing red flags. You don't necessarily know. People hide who they are. Perpetrators all the time, criminals, people who are trying to steal money, or, they pretend that there's something when they're not. They appear as an angel of light until you find out they're not. So there's no way just meeting him, because he is around the circles of millionaires and billionaires. And you just heard from the victim that he was very affluent in all these circles because he was friends with all the leaders, right? Anyone who was anyone, Jeffrey Epstein was in their circle. And so naturally, with Donald Trump being a billionaire, what circles was he going to run in? He's not running in our circles, right? Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break. And hey, if you haven't made the switch to Patriot Mobile, why not? They're the only Christian conservative cell phone carrier out there. Have access to all 3 major networks. Keep your name, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. With 100% U.S. customer service base, it makes switching easy. And the best part is, when you use my name, Amber, you're going to get a free month of service. So go to patriotmobile.com/Amber or call 972-PATRIOT and let them know Amber sent you. That's again, patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and get that free month of cell phone service.
Hi, I'm international film and television star Nick Searcy, but you already knew that. And you're watching The Amber May Show.
Hey, so when you are a guest at the Amber May's house, you get luxury. And how you get luxury is I have this sleeping couch, the sleeper sofa, and you're telling me that's not luxury. It is when you put a MyPillow mattress topper on it. All my guests that have come over and stayed at my house have really enjoyed this sleeper sofa, which says a lot because they're getting to sleep on the MyPillow pillows, and you get the MyPillow mattress topper, and then it doesn't stop there with the luxury, because when you shower at the MMA Show's house, you get to have a MyPillow towel. I don't have the kids using it. I just let the adults have the luxury. So the adults get to use the MyPillows, and they're phenomenal. And right now, there's a massive sale going on with the MyPillow towels. So you should really put luxury into your home and live it every day like Amber May does every day. So I have a MyPillow mattress topper on my bed. I use the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow towels, the MyPillow slippers. I live luxury, and I don't have to pay the luxury price because MyPillow has promo code. So use my name, Amber, and save up to 66% off, and you can live luxurious as well. You are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress. So this jaw-dropping announcement, FBI director revealed under Operation Restore Justice, a staggering 4,000 child victims have been rescued and 600 child predators arrested. So someone who was into the pedophile thing would not be in his administration trying to go rescue kids. Donald Trump was the one who brought all this to the forefront when he was running the first time. I never heard any elected officials talking about child predators or trafficking of kids. I never did. And in fact, I was so naive that I thought all that stuff just happened in Asia or somewhere else. Like we didn't do that. I was just that naive about our country until Donald Trump hit the scene. Like, you know, you could start seeing the cracks of our nation under the Obama administration, at least for me. Some people are smarter than me, picked up things quicker than I did. But for me, I started seeing the cracks. But I still never believed in our dreams. I thought we were a noble country, that we wouldn't be participating in that. But Donald Trump knew different, and he started talking about it during that campaign. And so under his administration currently, he is helping rescue children. And here is that whole thing with Kash Patel talking about the rescuing of children.
1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administrations, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership at the Attorney General with Pam Bondi. Your administration's priority of protecting the homeland and protecting American citizens and protecting our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities. And how do we do it? Effective.
Well, so you think of who Donald Trump is and what he's been doing under as being president of the United States. He's been trying to lower crime, stop the trafficking of children, trying to end wars and bring peace, helping us with our tax burdens. I mean, what else? Like he's been doing such a great job, and he's only been in office 9 months. Wow. So when the other side of the aisle want to tell you that Donald Trump is friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and he must be hiding something because he has something to hide. If he had, you know it, and I know it, they would have been blasting that on every television station, every radio station, every social media app about Donald Trump being a pedophile. But the truth of the matter is he was not. And once he found out who Jeffrey Epstein was, he called the police. He 86'd him at Mar-a-Lago. He wanted nothing to do with the man. And then when he had the pulpit to do so, he started bringing up his name and the Clintons and whoever else was associated with him. Now, Benny Johnson is reporting on X that Oversight Chairman James Comer just broke some major news that Alex Acosta is coming to testify in a couple weeks. Epstein documents are currently being uploaded for full transparency. And we subpoenaed 6 former attorney generals, as well as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. And we've expanded the Alex Acosta. Acosta's coming in, I believe it's September 19th, 16th, or the 19th. We've got that date down. So let's watch this video that we found on X. Thank you, Benny Johnson.
A quick update. I think everyone knows who all we've subpoenaed thus far. In the initial batch, we subpoenaed 6 former attorneys general, as well as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. We've expanded that to Alex Acosta. Acosta's coming in, I believe, September the 19th, 16th or 19th. We've got that date down. I know that we'll have a lot of questions for him with respect to an earlier Epstein prosecution that he was involved in when he was U.S. attorney. We have the documents, the initial batch that had been sent by the White House. As you know, we also subpoenaed Pam Bondi for those documents. The White House is working with us. I want to publicly thank the White House for turning over so many documents thus far. We're in the process of uploading those documents for full transparency so everyone in America can see those documents. It's going to, as quick as we can get them uploaded, and as the speaker said, they're 34,000 pages. We're doing everything we can to get those uploaded. We want those to be public as soon as possible. And then we're going to continue to bring in more people. We learned of some additional names today. We're going to do everything we can to give the American public the transparency they seek, as well as provide accountability in memory of the victims who have already passed away, as well as those that were in the room, and many others who haven't come forward. So we're sincere about this. This was a 2.5-hour discussion. It was as bipartisan as anything I've seen in the 9 years I've been here. Appreciate the speaker for giving us the authority to seek out everything that I think you all want, and the people that I talk to as I travel America want. We're going to do everything we can to get the answers and to do it as soon as possible.
Wonderful.
Elitist media deceives, but Faith and Freedom TV amplifies truth. Our world-leading platform delivers news, teachings, worship, movies, and music rooted in biblical values and constitutional patriotism, inspiring faith and liberty. We inspire, equip, and amplify Christian patriots to share powerful stories of faith, family, and freedom. With live events, thousands of on-demand videos, and access on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS, we're transforming culture globally for God and country. New content is coming to ignite faith. Join our mission to counter deception. Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, we have a guest coming up, so we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to welcome Julie to the program.
Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break.
Ever thought about having your own podcast? Let me show you how easy it can be. Worried about tech and the mic? I break it down in the course. Thinking that you need some expensive studio? I show you the kind of studio and how easy it is and cost effective it is to start your own podcast today. Starting your own podcast can be overwhelming, and I show you the right steps to launch your show successfully. So join me at Podcast Like a Pro. I'm Amber May with over 20 years of experience in the broadcasting and podcasting world, and I could show you how to podcast like a pro because I am a pro. So become a pro just like me by going to theambermayshow.com. Look for the tab Podcast Like a Pro, and what's even better, prices have been slashed. Save over $100 when you use promo code AMBER at checkout. I slashed the price and I'm adding a promo code into it. So join now. Now is the best time to be a podcasting pro just like me. So go to theambermayshow.com, hit Podcast Like a Pro with the newer, lower prices. And don't forget promo code AMBER at checkout.
Hello, I'm Michael Yan in Japan, and welcome to the Amber May Show.
Hey friends, if you're looking for a doctor you can trust, look no further than Dr. Stella, and you can find her at drstellamd.com. Let me show you one of the areas that I love about Dr. Stella. I enjoy supporting the immune system, especially when it comes to cold and flu season. And I love the Covey Light, the Covey Sleep, especially if you're having trouble sleep at night. Get that Covey Sleep. It'll help you so much. So not only are you supporting the immune system, but it also helps you get a good night's sleep. The Covey Spray is super easy. Covey Vites. These are my favorite. The Covey Vites. She has placed vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. And we all know that that zinc helps support the body's immune system, but zinc needs delivery system. So that quercetin is the delivery system to drive that zinc in to help your body heal faster and feel better. Also has Covey vitamins for kids as well. Hey, and if you're looking to get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or you just feel under the weather and need a doctor you can trust, set up a telemed appointment with her. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber or Amber May, at checkout, whether you need your Covey Vites or a telemed appointment, you will save money at checkout. So don't forget to use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. So go visit drstellamd.com and then use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money.
You are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress.
Friends, like I told you, we have our new friend. We have Julia Alsager joining us today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I'm excited to talk to you about what you do for a living.
Thank you. I'm excited to tell you all about it.
So your background, before we get into it, because we're going to talk about genetics, we're going to talk about health. And when I saw you on my friend's show, I had to have you on because I felt like what you were offering was super fascinating, stuff that we don't hear typically. So I'd love for you to talk to us about like how you got into this world of bioanalytics, as you say, and your company is called Lux Bio. Is that correct?
Yes. Lux Bioanalytics. Yes. And that's based on the Latin words. So I homeschooled my kids throughout all of their education. And at one point in time, we learned Latin. And so Lux means light, and biology, of course, and then analytics. So it's shining light on the biology to be able to find answers is where my mind went when I created that name for my practice.
Oh, that's cool. You're not a biologist, but at least you know something about genders, right?
Yes.
You know if you're female, and I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there because that came up in the news cycle just recently.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's fascinating. So let me get into the homeschool aspect really quick.
Yeah.
What made you kind of want to go into the homeschool atmosphere?
Well, I was homeschooled from, I guess you would say pre-K, if they did that back in the day, pre-K until second grade. I started traditional public school in third grade. And my most favorite schooling in the history of my memory was when I homeschooled. And I remember every single year asking my mom, up through my senior year of high school, please homeschool me. And I did well in school. I got good grades. I had friends. I did well in sports. So it wasn't that school was a terrible experience, but I hated it. Not how I learned. So I forced myself to memorize things enough to regurgitate on a test, but it wasn't how my brain accumulated knowledge. And so I actually don't remember very much from school at all. The majority of things that I know right now, I know because from teaching my own children, and then from reading hundreds of books on things that I'm actually interested in. So that's where, when I had my kids, I knew that I wanted freedom, I wanted flexibility, and I wanted relationship, and I wanted them to learn in a way that was best for them. And so that's why I chose homeschooling.
I was highlighting on a show recently about this a couple teachers that left the traditional schooling, and they have more of the classical model. And then the rest of the day is on the farmland. They're teaching the kids about taking care of animals and farming and planting. And that's great because the way boys are structured, I think the way that we're teaching kids in school does not work, especially for little boys who are more hands-on and active. And so I love hearing stories about homeschooling because we've all learned so much about the public education. So when I find someone who's into the homeschooling aspect, I love to learn a little bit more about that. But let's get into, because I'm very excited to learn about this this Lux Bio that you've created. You started as a translator for sign language in the medical world. That was cool. Like you got a whole new language talking about medicine with sign language. That's awesome. And then how did it go from there to where, okay, you're a homeschool mom, you're a sign language interpreter, and now you own your own business. You're looking at DNA.
Yeah.
Tell me about that story. It's fascinating.
So, long story short, I was a sick kid. Not so much that I had a serious disease, cancer, or anything like that. I did almost die at 11 from, I think it was my 4th or 5th pneumonia that year. But the doctors essentially told my parents I would be sickly for the rest of my life. Just don't expect much from her. She's just going to be sickly. So we came upon natural healing when I was about 15, 16. And then for years, my health improved following natural healing. And so I had a love for natural healing because it literally gave me my life back. And then when I was 20, I became an interpreter. I love anything dealing with healing the body, anything to do with the body. So I went into medical interpreting. And simultaneously, I was gaining certifications in holistic nutrition, naturopathy. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the sirens are going off right now just because I do every Wednesday, and then my dog howls while the sirens go off.
Well, so, I do. Is it like was tornado high? Like what?
It's every Wednesday at 1:00 they do the tornado sirens just for practice.
Oh yeah, like
and every time my dog howls, he's a mute the rest of the time except for the sirens.
It's so low, like I hardly
all
heard
the timing.
Yeah, no, it's
thank you.
Live TV, folks.
It is live TV, yes. So anyway, so I was gathering all these certifications while working in mainstream medicine, and then comes lockdown, and I thought, oh, my job will never cease to exist because everybody is always going into medicine for whatever their needs are. But when all elective appointments, when they were all canceled, unless I had a patient that was in the COVID wing, there was no work. I had nobody going into the ER. I was normally getting called into the ER. Nobody was going into the ER.
Wow.
And then when I went back, when people started going back to appointments and there were all the masks and all the things, I chose not to disclose. I chose to be Switzerland. So when someone would ask me if I was vaccinated or not, I had already disclosed everything I needed to the hospital, gotten my waiver, all that stuff. And I was all suited up as they required me to be, because I did not take the vaccine. But I had patients that would be upset if I did, patients that would be upset if I didn't. And I was coming in to be neutral and do my job. And so I didn't disclose it. And I had a patient get very angry, and fire me on the spot, which I had to interpret her firing me to the front desk to reschedule her appointment with a different interpreter. So I had to interpret myself being yelled at. And that was the beginning of going, I don't like going into these places anymore. And then during that whole time, I watched people I cared about, because I deeply cared about the people I was serving, never get better. And I'd experienced getting better in my life, and I'd gotten better through natural means. And so it's not that I'm not anti-doctor at all. I'm so grateful they exist. I have benefited from them.
Yes.
But we conflate health and medicine, and they are two completely separate pathways.
Right.
When health doesn't sustain and work, then we refer out. But people that could have been referred over to, hey, let's do things to get you healthy, versus medicate you and then lead ultimately to surgical interventions or what have you. Everything was being moved over to the medicine category, and health was ignored. And my soul couldn't manage that anymore. So I came home one day from an appointment where I had read an NIH study that morning on a particular supplement. And the patient in that appointment that morning had asked the doctor about said supplement. And the doctor said, it is fake. They're just trying to steal your money. All those supplements, they don't do anything. And I thought, this is your team. Your team released this study months ago, and you're telling this patient who it could benefit that they're just trying to steal your money. And I came home and I told my husband, I can't do this anymore. And he said, it's about time. Go start practice.
I love that. See, my husband really supports me in what I'm doing with the show. And I love that your husband has your back too. There's nothing better than knowing that your man supports you, because it makes it harder if he doesn't. I don't want to be in that space of tension.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I love that he's so supporting me. Like, yeah, you need to start this. And I'm with you. Like, I'm for doctors, right? I'm not against Western medicine. I think there's a time and a place for Western medicine, but I also believe we are not getting the other side of the benefits of natural health. And I love the idea of natural health. I think that's where it's at. So tell me, okay, blood work, that's all we ever get at the traditional doctors. And I don't blame them, honestly, because look at how we've all been deceived over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all they know is what they learn in medical school is very heavy pharmaceutical influence, right?
Yeah.
And so the best tools that they have are things that the medical industrial complex gets paid big bucks for. So you're going to get the blood work, which nothing wrong getting blood work. I'm sure you're going to talk about that a little bit. And then, you get your MRIs, your x-rays, your mammogram, all those things. No one ever talks about DNA. And here I'm hearing you talk on my friend's podcast, the Tanya Joy Show, about this. To me, it's revolutionary way of finding out ways to heal the body.
Yes.
So let's get into that topic, because that's fascinating.
Yes. So I am a functional blood specialist. So I do interpret blood work, and I love blood work because for me, it's telling me how your genetics are expressing themselves, how your genes are behaving. So blood work is great. I don't interpret it like mainstream medicine interprets it, but I do interpret it in a way that we get to layer it on top of the genetics. And so I'll give you a broad overview with genetics. There are a lot of tests out there. It's becoming very popular. It's something that anybody can go and buy their own test. And the different tests will give you different reports. And every test, they come up with their own way of explaining how the gene functions. If you have a variant, we used to call it a mutation. Nowadays, we call it a variant because it's not always a negative impact. You can have a variation that actually protects your health in the long run. That's different than what they call the wild or the normal gene. So in genetics, you have your DNA, and the section of that is considered a gene. Okay. And then in the section, there are what we call SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphism. So it's just it's like if the gene is a city, and then or the DNA is a city, the gene is maybe an area of the city, a suburb, and then you have all these houses in that area. And there are two people that live in every house. Okay. And you want the two people that are supposed to be there because they know how to do their job really well. But sometimes you get one person in that doesn't know what they're doing, or sometimes you get two people in that don't know what they're doing. And for certain genes, sometimes you're missing the suburb altogether. It's not there. Your parents didn't give you that suburb. And so all of these things we've got 1 million plus SNPs in our body. And I'm only looking at 168. And why am I looking at those 168? Because those are things that we have been able to look at from clinical research and application, that when we have this variation, this is the physiological mechanism that happens in your body. And then I, from a natural perspective, go, well, if this is happening, if your body isn't processing B vitamins correctly, let's say folate, if your body isn't processing that correctly, okay, how do we support it?
Yeah.
There's actionable things that you can do. And if your body isn't processing folate appropriately, it hasn't been doing it since you were in the womb. This isn't something that just happened when you got old, right? This is something that is built up your entire life. And then you hit midlife, 40s, 50s, and all of a sudden you have these pretty big impacts of things that could have been supported 40 years ago. So it's an accumulative impact. And then as women, a lot of times, because menopause has been pathologized, it's been made a disease rather than a life event. And now instead of going, oh, you might have, a methylation problem, or hereditary detox bottlenecks that we could support. Instead it goes, oh, you're just getting older and it's menopause, let's put you on all these prescription, versus let's support your body and then you can enter into this time of life without the symptoms that other people are experiencing.
Really? So that's a possibility, huh? Without getting on like a hormone treatment?
100%.
Really? See, this is all I've ever heard is the hormone treatment.
200 years ago, women did not experience the symptoms that we're experiencing now. This is not, even in other cultures that don't have, for example, in America, the latest statistic is the average adult has over 800 man-made chemicals in their body.
Oh, goodness.
Babies have over 235 man-made chemicals in their umbilical cord blood. So the burden on our body, it burdens not just our detoxification system, but it burdens our entire whole being. And so when we know this and we can start eliminating those burdens using our genetic information to make it more easy and effortless, then all of a sudden the things that are impacted by our burden, so our liver is going to be burdened, then it's not going to process estrogen as well. Then we're going to have hormonal imbalance, and then we're going to have symptoms. So everything makes sense. And so if we reverse engineer it, going off of our genetics, then we can avoid or eliminate a lot of these symptoms. Maybe not 100% because we breathe the air, right? 11,000 liters a day is the average that a person breathes. And there's toxins in the air. So we're going to do our best. But I've seen, well, every woman I work with has no, that have been struggling for years with menopause symptoms. Because they're not menopause symptoms, they're symptoms. They're symptoms. I know why they have to associate it with a day, a 24-hour period of time in a woman's lifespan, because it's premenopause, postmenopause. Menopause is one day. Why do we have to tag everything to that thing versus looking at, okay, these are symptoms. When do they start? They didn't start that day. They started with all the things that have been burdening the body the whole life.
Oh,
yeah.
Is there anything like, I think that we can talk a lot about women's health, but what about men's health? Like, I feel like there's not a lot out there regarding men's health, and men have a lot of issues too. Like, do you see anything that you could help as far as men go? Or
yes, well, the beautiful thing is with biology, we got the two genders, and fundamentally, as a species, the same things that are burdening women that are being tied, as everything in your midlife is tied to perimenopause or postmenopause. With men, they're experiencing the exact same burden with the chemicals and the toxins and everything like that. They have the genetic variants. There's one called the GSTM1. That's an insertion or deletion. So my husband is fine with me sharing. He has a GSTM1 double deletion. He does not have that gene. That gene is helpful for creating an enzyme for the liver to detox. Therefore, he doesn't get to drink alcohol, right? He wants to have a beer with his buddies. And I'm like, no, you don't have that gene and I love you. And so we're not going to burden the liver because it's got enough burden on its own. And because he has that information now his visceral fat, which is the belly fat that really is really difficult on the organ. So subcutaneous fat is the fat that's just kind of underneath our skin throughout our body, but the visceral is the suffocation of the organs. And so now he's been able to reduce his visceral fat, because when you start getting rid of those burdens on the liver, it's not always directly related. Some things are adjacent, but nothing happens in isolation. So by doing those things, now the visceral fat has been able to come down, and now his energy has improved. His sleep has improved. His mood has improved. Because when you elevate the health of the body, everything improves.
Oh my gosh. Now, are you just able to see people in your area, or can anybody across the nation come and like get help from you?
I work internationally. I have people.
You work internationally. That's amazing.
Yeah. So essentially, if I can get your blood work and get your DNA, and for some people, that's when they're visiting the U.S., we do the swabs, we do the blood work, we get the stuff. Other times in certain areas, we're able to ship the kit over and then they'll ship it back. It's a more cumbersome process. But then I have with my clients, and I have a wait list at this point in time because I'm very limited with how many clients I will take a month because they have access to my phone. And I use an app called Marco Polo, and they video message me for some people who are dealing with really acute diseases, mystery diseases that nobody's been able to figure out. We might be chatting back and forth every single day. Because if you wake up and your second toe hurts, I want to know, because everything is communication from your body. So my process isn't let me see your blood work and DNA and then I'll tell you what's wrong, because I'm not legally allowed to diagnose. So I do not diagnose. If I see something obvious, I will tell someone you need to go to your doctor and ask them to look for this specific thing. And then the doctor's going to look at it and say, yes, you have that because it's obvious. But I'm not allowed to provide that information legally as a traditional naturopath because I'm not a licensed medical healthcare provider. So what I do though is I will talk with them every day when they're eating their food. They'll say, hey, this is what I'm eating. Here are the ingredients I made it with. Because, for example, if they have what's called a methylation impact, and that again is that folate, if they're eating enriched food has folic acid. And if they have an MTHFR 677, their ability to create a bioavailable form of that folate from folic acid is diminished by 30 to 70%. So I'm going to say, hey, your body doesn't need that burden. So you're going to look for food that's not enriched because your genetics can't handle that. So now this burden that they've been carrying because they eat enriched cereals or enriched bread or enriched, whatever other enriched product, now all of a sudden they immediately feel a little bit better because their energy isn't being allocated to trying to create a process that isn't going to work. So that's how I work with people, is just, we become very close.
I imagine. I mean, and no a physician with the burden load that they have can sit there and do that. It's impossible.
No.
So that's really cool. And I could see why you take such a limited amount of patients every month.
Yeah.
Because that would be, you're really trying to get to the root cause of whatever issue it is. That's interesting. Do your clients find problems trying to find foods that will sustain their body, that their bodies can absorb? Okay.
No,
I'm thinking with everything we're hearing with RFK, with all the junk that they've put in our food supply, right?
Yeah. You're not going to get food that is convenience food. You're not going to buy something 99% of the time that is going to be in a box that you're going to dump in your oven and that you're going to eat.
Okay.
So you're going to prepare your food, and it is a skill for living that existed until the last 50 years ago, right? So all we're doing is reclaiming a skill that we needed to live. We outsourced that skill, and then we gained disease because of it. So I even will help my client. I'll teach them how to cook. I'll go to their house, buy the ingredients. I love cooking. I watch way too much Food Network, but I will teach them how to cook. And so that they will have 5 recipes that are perfect for their genetics, that they know how to make delicious. And delicious food, we do not eliminate, we elevate. So if you love desserts, we will find a form of dessert that is made with ingredients that support your biology and your blood work. If you have type 2 diabetes, your dessert's going to be a wee bit different than a person that doesn't have any insulin issues. So that's one of the things I do.
Wow. Insulin resistance is a big thing in the United States. I mean, I know I deal with it myself. So when I heard about you, it just sounded fascinating. What does the process look like for people to become clients of yours?
Well, I'm literally in the process of switching my discovery call over to an application because I am full through November. And so I have a wait list that has started. However, what I do also offer that is less intense and might be more appropriate for a person that isn't struggling with a mystery disease, hasn't seen 30 doctors, and is desperate for help. Those are the type that I tend to work one-on-one with. I have a group program. And that group program is a 12-week program. We meet live once a week. This is not a recording. You get to send me questions to my email, and I will answer them live in the group in a way that benefits everyone. And then for now, as long as my schedule can sustain this, I also included the DNA test that I use and a 1-hour consultation one-on-one with me to go over your DNA.
Cool.
So you're really getting fundamental, here's how to jumpstart your health. And you're in a community where people don't go, oh, that's extreme, you shouldn't do that. And instead it's, oh, that's common sense, species biology. We're all on the same page. This is amazing. So it's a mind, because we deal with mindset, identity, emotional alchemy, nervous system regulation, because all of those things are equally as important as your genetics.
Oh, cool. So even in the group setting, they'll still get a DNA test from you
for now.
For now. And then they can take it to their physician after you've gone over it, or what's the next step after you've gone over with that 1-hour consultation?
So after the 1-hour consultation, the 12 weeks in the group, really I provide everything that they're going to need to DIY their health.
Awesome.
Again, if they're having serious issues, then that's a little bit of a different thing. But if this is someone, I've had someone that just follows me on social media that messaged me last month saying, hey, I just want to let you know, I can't afford to work with you, but I followed everything that you've said. I've lost 28 pounds. I've got more energy than I've ever had. So these are not things that you have to go to a medical professional to get healthy. And that's kind of the point where if you've got a disease and you need medical intervention, then by all means you go. But this isn't something where, oh, I have this and I'm going to go bring it to my doctor, because I will tell you the majority will have no clue what to do with it. In fact, that's one of the things that I would do with clients, to write a letter to their doctor explaining the most important things about their DNA and saying, hey, this is what it means. So please take this into consideration when you're looking at these interventions. And even then, sometimes they'll go, oh, we don't know if we trust this. And the research is from their team, because that's the only people that have the money to do the research, right? It's not like we've got a bunch of traditional naturopaths out here running a lab,
right?
Out what genes are doing, in vitro. So anyway, it's interesting because there's still pushback, even though the genes that I use are very well documented and very highly researched.
Is the price of your both your one-on-one your one-on-one group, not your one-on-one group, your one-on-one, the first part where there's a waiting list, is the prices on the website for that, prices on the website for the group?
The group is closed right now. I will be reopening and doing a new one starting the first week in October. So here's what I would suggest to people that are interested in that is I do webinars where I actually have one coming up this weekend on the topic of methylation. And I can create a coupon code for your people. I will do that. So that's going to be a 2-hour training. This is the first time I'm doing a 2-hour training to give you the huge breakdown on methylation, which I call the most vital process in your body that no one's ever heard of. And within that, what I do for any of my programs thus far is anything that you invest. For example, this training this weekend is $100. Now, if you upgrade to my group program, which I will share that information at the end of that training, I always allow you to credit into the group program. The group program, I allow you to credit into the one-on-one.
That's cool.
So if you're not able or you're not ready to jump up right away, at least you're able to not go, oh, well, what if I want this, but I already spent here? Well, no, you invested in yourself here, and I'm going to reward you investing in yourself by it's just credit. We will just add up.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So where do we find your next webinar?
Yes. So the webinar registration is going to be at luxbioanalytics.com/mini course.
Okay.
I'm doing a mini course on methylation.
Cool. And what promo code did you want to give the people?
Well, let's say Amber.
I like that.
As soon
it's
as
easy promo code.
It's easy. It's easy. Amber. I'll do it. I don't know if it matters if it's capitalized or not. We'll just do capital A, lowercase MBER.
Okay, cool. Well, that is awesome. So I hope people will jump on that webinar. You said this weekend?
Yeah, Saturday from 1 to 3 Central Time.
Is there a replay if people sign up but just can't get to it at that time?
Yep, the replay will be emailed out usually within, well, it's the weekend, so my team might not get it out till Monday, but it will be available. Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. Well, if there's multiple ways that she is available or coming up very soon to a neighborhood near you, just kidding. Go check her out at luxbioanalytics.com. Julie, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us, teaching us something new that it's to me, it's new, and maybe it'll be new for other people. I appreciate what you're doing for others. I think we need to duplicate you so that we can help more and more people. You need two Julies.
I know. I keep trying to find. Someday I'm going to find someone, and I'm all about the mentorship versus putting out a program and having people take the class. So I'm going to come across the right people. And so if you're out there and you are a health coach or practitioner, and you're like, oh, this is exactly what. Reach out, because I'd love to bring someone on not in a staff role, but in an apprenticeship. We learn by just being present with others that are doing that. And I'm just looking for the right person.
I agree with you. I think that's a beautiful way to handle it. Thank you, Julie, for spending time with us today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Amber, for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on the Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social Amber May, Frank Socially Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on the Amber May Show.
Economic chaos is shaking the markets. Trade tensions, government overreach, and global uncertainty are driving volatility to historic highs. But in times of crisis, gold and silver shine as safe haven assets just as they have for centuries. Right now, you have a rare opportunity to protect your wealth with Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. Call 720-605-3900 or visit kepm.com/B2T to learn how to reposition your retirement into low-cost 100% liquid gold and silver bullion. No high commission coins, no overpriced collectibles. KEPM educates you, charges no commission when you sell, and keeps your investment secure. Beware of firms pushing rare coins with sky-high markups. Stick with bullion for maximum liquidity and value. Seize this moment to thrive in uncertain times. Call Kirk Elliott Precious Metals at 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com/B2T today. Real assets, real security, real future. The quantum effect wipes out pain and allergy symptoms in less than 30 seconds with zero drugs. Pastor Dave and hundreds of others have experienced the quantum effect for themselves. It's backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing. Quantum is simply about two things. One, intentions. As a man thinketh, so he is. And two, renewing your mind with the Word of God. Only QE Strong encodes key intentions and Bible verses about healing onto the small patch. You simply place it on your body each day, and with a bonus prayer guide, read out loud a positive intention and 1 or 2 Bible verses about healing each day. The patch provides the touch, and the prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to relieve pain and allergy symptoms with the senses God gave you. It even works for people who have suffered decades of chronic symptoms. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect?
Go to QEstrong.com and use code FAITH at...
Terrell Owens here. On the field, I brought energy every single game. But let's be real. Sometimes the fatigue in the brain can make you feel like you're running on fumes. That's where Exodus Strong and their Fatigue to Fire playbook come into play. It's a complete 40-day blueprint with a checklist, an in-depth ebook, plus daily prayer and Bible study guides to rebuild your body, mind, and spirit. Don't wait. Get in the game. To truly get in the game, the one that matters most, you need strength built on a divine foundation, the energy God intended for you. Exodus Strong unites 7 sacred ingredients from Scripture, each chosen for its divine purpose with breakthrough science that unlocks their power. This is more than a supplement. It's a daily ritual to honor your body and restore the vitality God intended for you. No artificial stimulants, just His perfect design, activated. Join the movement of 1 million believers reclaiming their God-given strength. Your journey begins today. Visit toexodus.com to start your Fatigue to Fire transformation.